Hey everybody, it's Shamika with Simplified Legal, joining you this lovely Sunday talking about credit repair. There is always time to discuss your credit, how to fix it, repair it, get educated, and learn. If you're not about learning how to repair your credit effectively, or if you're not learning how to handle credit responsibly, just simply receiving credit education is so vital these days because credit is king. If you don't know that, you need to go and look that up. Watch my channel. Hopefully, I will give you some great information. Please, 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 as always, I love to ask for content, questions, things that you like to hear about. I'm here to educate you. I'm also here to let you know about what services I provide. But bigger than all of that, educating people is probably my passion, especially about credit. I'm not going to say probably my passion, excuse me. It is my passion. Um, what I was thinking was it's probably the one thing I'm most passionate about. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the topic of how to boost my credit. Okay, so I have a lot of people that come to me and they ask all the time about how can I boost my credit. I've done everything possible, paid my bills down. I'm in working with collections to get these things taken care of, and my credit score keeps going down. Okay, well, I'm going to give you 4 little tips that should help you. Keep these in mind at all times. These are not just about boosting your score. This is about maintaining your score. Life happens, things take place, your score is going to drop. You know, you might run into different situations that may negatively affect your credit, and that's okay. It happens. It's life. You're human. It is a score, people. It will go back up. I remember I used to be so emotionally tied to my credit score because I felt that my credit score, it was an indication of the type of person that I was. And that was not exactly the case. Me having health issues or things that go on in life, those things get in the way, and you have issues that affect your credit, whether you mean to or not. So here goes my tips on how to boost your credit. I also had to learn these, okay? Number 1, you want to make your payments on time. I can't stress that enough. Payments on time, they indicate your ability to make payments. They indicate how much a bank should invest in you, if they should trust you, the individual, when it's coming to making payments. 30 days, 60 day, 90 day, 120, 180, it's all bad. 30 days, 30 to 60 days, your score will drop tremendously. That's a fact. The higher your score is, so if you're in the 6s, 7s, 8s, congrats, but 130-day late payment will drop your score over or close to 100 points, if not over. If you're an individual with low credit scores, 5s and 4s, it'll drop it too. It won't drop it. It won't go down that far. It won't have a 100-point drop. There is a very weird calculation to the FICO score. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but a lower score, someone that's already in the 4s or the 5s, you can expect maybe a 30, 40-point drop. Okay? If you are designated as a repeat offender by the banks, meaning if on your credit report it shows that you have been 90 days or more several times, you are what the banks consider a repeat offender. And when I say banks, people, I want you to understand that banks are the issuers of these credit cards. So if you have a Discover card, if you have a Visa, a MasterCard, any type of major credit card, even a store card, they are all issued by a bank. So when a bank pulls your credit file, they're looking to determine if you are a risk, whether that's a high risk or a low risk. But that is what they're looking for. So you want to make sure you make your payments on time. If you are like a lot of individuals, you got a lot going on, you got kids, you got work, you got school, you can't remember, download an app. There are bill payment reminder apps right in your store on your phone. Download it, sync your accounts. Take the 30 minutes and sync all of your accounts so that it can send you a notification. It'll also sync with your calendar, where when you're looking on your calendar, you'll be able to see when your payment is due. If you are not good at that, that is definitely what I would recommend. If you're an individual that can't make your payments on time because you've already spent the money, that's another topic, but that's a budgeting issue. So I would look at maybe possibly getting some of the budgeting apps as well. I'll do a video on that later on some of the ones that I think are good, but this is where we are right now. The next thing, you want to keep your inquiries low. 6 is usually the magic number, 6 or less. And that's not 6 with each bureau, that's 6 overall. I know a lot of times individuals go and they get cars, or they're trying to get a car, and they go and get an auto loan, someone's pulling their report, and then the next thing you know, they sold, or they issued your Social Security out to other banks to try to get you a loan, and next thing you know, you go look at your report, you got 12 inquiries on there, although you only signed to have your credit report pulled once. That does happen. That is normal. They try to count that as one inquiry. There's really no way of being able to tell unless you call your credit bureau yourself and ask. Each inquiry is a deduction of somewhere around 2 points, as well as it stays on your credit report for 24 months. So, 6 inquiries in 2 years is very hard to do. I would state that if you could find cards or banks that do no credit check, that's something you might be able to look at. Those interest rates could be super high. It really depends. If you are working with a credit repair consultant like myself, hopefully you will come to the understanding that there are good accounts that you can open that do no credit check, no pull on your score. There are lots of different ways to do that. I'm not going to get into that now. That's also another video. But just letting you know, you want to keep your inquiries low, no more than 6. 30% utilization. I know we've heard that all over and over and over again. And it actually got me to researching and looking, where did that 30% number come from? Nowhere. The 30% utilization rate is a guesstimate that financial experts have come up with that they feel is a good number to keep your balances around. I'll tell you that 30% is good, but we always want to go less. Facts have proven that individuals with a 7 or an 800 credit score, they only use about 7% of their credit. So the utilization is really low. It's only about 7%. So that's something later on down the line, when you're able or financially able to get there, that's something that you want to do. Right now, I tell individuals 30% is the goal. If you can go less than that, great. If you can, one thing you don't want is 0% utilization. You do need to use your cards, people, okay? I am not saying go out and go on a shopping spree, go to Victoria's Secrets and take advantage of their semi-annual sale, nothing like that. It can be something as simple as I'm going to get McDonald's, or you have a annual subscription, not annual subscription, excuse me, a monthly subscription. I remember I used to do Shoe Fab. It was only $29.99 a month, and I love shoes. And so I'm thinking, what better way I can build my credit or maintain or boost my score and be able to get the things that I want. Give me a pair of shoes every month. So things like that are good. If you want to get gas on that card once a month, that's good. But you definitely want to keep that utilization low. That is one of the ways to do that. There are other ways when it comes to making your payments, how you can keep utilization low so that when it's time for the creditor to report to the credit bureaus, there's lots of tricks. I don't want to sidebar too much because it will throw a lot of people off, so I'm trying to keep it pretty narrowed down and focused here. We can always talk about tricks and tips later because there are a lot of them. Lastly, don't close the account. I have a lot of people that always say, well, I thought closing the account was going to be the good thing. I'm not going to use it anymore. Wrong. You never, ever, ever want to close an account. One, if you have no other credit. No other credit on your credit report, you need to keep it open, even if you don't use it, which I am against it. As you heard me state before, I do think we should use that card. But you want to keep those accounts open because they follow into what I like to call the FICO score circle of life. There is a circle. It's in the shape of a pie, I guess you could say. And your score is broken down into different percentages to give you an idea of how your credit score is calculated. So, 30% of your score comes from the amounts that you owe currently on your credit card. 35% comes from your payment history. Remember what I was stating to you, that you want to make sure you make your payments on time. 35% of your score comes from that. So imagine being late 30, 60, 90 days. 120, we're really in bad territory. In 180, they're already charging off your account. So we don't want to get there. People's 35% of your score is your payment history. So keep that in mind. 10% credit mix. A lot of individuals don't know what that means. I'm going to explain it. A credit mix would be installment loans, retail credit cards, auto loans, all of those types of credit, they fall into a category. So an installment loan would be a mortgage loan, student loan, car loan. Any loan amount that tells you you have to pay this dollar amount for this certain amount of months or years, and your last payment will still be the same amount as your first payment, that's an installment loan. So, your student loans could be $300 a month, and although you're paying them down, it's still $300 a month. That is an installment loan. Okay? All the other accounts that you may use would be a revolving line. Those would be just like credit cards, where it will tell you how much you have to pay based off of a mathematical equation, interest, the daily interest rate, all those type finance charges and all of that. So you sometimes month to month, you don't even know what that amount is going to be. You also got to account your usage. So that would be in a revolving line, because once you pay that balance off or down, you still have that money to use again. Unlike a car loan, a mortgage, or a student loan, you can't just automatically reborrow that money. It has to be applied for again. Okay? So that's the difference in that. So 10% is your credit mix. Okay? 15% is your credit history length. So this plays into part where people are afraid to open up new credit. Well, I'll tell you this. If you have nothing on your credit report but collections, you have bad things, late payments, charged off accounts, open up some credit. If you don't know how to open up some credit, even with your bad score, inbox me. I'll send you a couple links of some accounts that you can use that would actually help when you start removing those negative items from your report. You need something good, something positive to counterbalance the act that it's going to do on your credit score. So opening up credit before you actually start the disputing process or your credit repair process is smart if your credit reveals that it needs that. That is something that you have to decide with your credit repair consultant or myself. I'm a credit repair consultant, okay? Lastly, 10% new credit. I really never understood why they separate these two. I get it, but they're kind of saying the same thing. Any new credit that you get is 10% of your score. I'm telling you for sure, your score is going to drop. I've never seen anybody open up a new credit card and their score go up immediately. It usually goes down for the first 30 days, 45 days, depends on the reporting cycle. And then next thing you know, after that, it's fine. It may go up 5 points, 10 points, and then each month after that, it goes up some more until it plateaus and it's at its, it now no longer falls into the 10% new credit. It may fall into, now its weight is going to play heavily into the credit mix, or it'll play heavily into the payment history part. That is the secret about FICO, is that we never know when an account stops having a impact on one certain area percentage wise and move on to the next. You never really know. So we never want to become experts on the FICO model, as in the math and all. You can learn how they figure out your score, but we don't spend too much time, credit repair consultants shouldn't spend too much time on this percentage breakdown, other than to inform you and to show you how your credit score was derived. Your main focus needs to be on how to boost or maintain your credit score. And you do that by making those payments on time, by keeping those inquiries low, 6 total, 30% utilization. I can tell you 30% is the cap. We don't want to go above that. The lower you go, the better. And you don't want to close any accounts. Keep everything open until you start having to choose which accounts you want to close, because some aren't benefiting you. Some that are going to have a high interest rate, some that are going to have monthly fees or annual fees. Those things don't benefit you in the long run because they start to take money out of your pocket. Those one day you'll eventually close, but that's not something you have to be concerned with right away.